Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I was trying to figure out what kind of cards to make, and I started by cleaning my desk and I found these things on my desk, so I decided that I would use these to make cards and also help to clean off my desk. The first one is a kite that I had received in a swap quite a few years ago. This is a paper piecing kite. I don't know if you can tell, there's 4 different pieces of paper on there, and it is made by my friend Junebug, and it was some sort of a spring swap that we did many years ago on one of our crafting sites. So I have that, and I thought since it's spring that would be great. And then also I found this was in one of my Ipsy boxes, and it says, "In my defense, the moon was full and I was left unsupervised." And I thought that would be a really cool card front. And on the back you can see it was from Ipsy, and this is October 2017. I was recently going through a lot of my Ipsy stuff and I had found this, and I thought I'd put it aside to make a card with. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to make these 2 cards, even though they're quite different, but I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I have 2 card bases, and these are just 4 1/4 by, they're 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it is just a standard sheet of cardstock, 8 1/2 by 11. It is cut in half and folded in half, and so that way you get 2 card bases, and this is an A2 size card. Really easy to find envelopes for it, or you can make your own. So I have the card base. I was looking for paper that looked like a sky because I thought it would be really cool to have the kite on a sky, but I didn't want to cut a whole 12 by 12 sheet of paper just to make the kite. I couldn't find any in my stash. So I did find this little 6 by 6 paper pad, and I thought I could find something in here to go with it. As you can see, it's well loved and it's falling apart, which is okay. So I picked out this here because I thought this reminded me of a sky and kind of like just a sunburst. Let me take this piece of paper out if I can get it out. There we go. And then I won't have that much waste if I do this. And then I have this yellow paper because I would like to cut out one of these circles to make a sun. I have not really tried any of this. I just picked the things out. I'm going to move my light a little bit because it seems to be washing out some of the things I'm trying to show you. So I think you could still see. All right. So I'm going to set that piece aside, and I'm going to make my mat. Since my card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I want this to come almost to the edge. So I'm going to make it, I'm trying to think if I want to make it 1/4 of an inch. I think I'll do that. I went ahead and got my little tiny paper trimmer because my big one is so big and clunky to bring in screen for you. So I'm going to see if I can get this to work. I always cut off this edge. I don't use the edge that was glued in the book. So I'm going to cut the short way first, and I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. And I'm going to cut it by 4 by 5 1/4. Oh no, I don't have a 5 1/4. Hold on, I have this one. I didn't think my cunning plan all the way through. 4 by 5 1/4. There we go. So then I have that piece. All right. So that leaves that much of a border. I want to see how this looks on it. That looks pretty good. It's not too bad. Okay, which way do I want it to be? I think I want it to be this way. And then I'm going to take one of my suns and I'm going to cut it out. I have this punch and it's a 1.5 inch punch, and I'm going to line up one of these right in it. And then punch. Really easy. Let's see how this looks. My sun is a little crooked. Actually, I might do it so the sun is off the edge of the paper just to make it a little more artsy, and since I did it crooked. So I'm going to adhere my sun down first. And I'm going to adhere it up in the corner like that. I'm just going to take my scissors and come out and cut it off like that. There we go. And then we have the sun. And then I'm going to have my kite flying, but I want it to be raised up a little bit. So I have some of these foam squares. I get these at the Dollar Tree. They work really well. They're in my Dollar Tree, they are in the like the mechanic section, the tool section. They're not in the scrapbooking section. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. And this last time I went, I could not find them. So I hope they still carry them. Maybe they were just out. Okay. If I see them again, I think I'll pick up a whole bunch. All right. Actually, before I adhere this down, I'm just going to set it aside. And I'm going to adhere this down to my card base first. This is a super simple card. I let Junebug do all the work. All right. And I think I've told you before, but when I line my papers up, when I want to mat it, I line up this corner and that corner. I just eyeball it. And if you have your two corners lined up, then it'll line up pretty good on the paper. All right. And then I'm going to stick this on here. I might go all the way to the top. There we go. And then I'm going to stick this one down, just that one down. I'm going to use a little bit of art glitter glue for the back of that one. And it's always important to put your pin back in your art glitter glue, otherwise it will dry and clog up the tip. There we go. And I'm going to just leave these dangle and put them in the envelope, and then when someone opens the card they have the kite like that. So there we go, spring card done. One down, one to go. All right, so here I have a card base, and then I have this, and it is pretty big by itself on the card. And I knew it needed something along the bottom, and I happened to find this gorgeous black trim in my stash. It is very sparkly. It is so pretty. I had it left over from several different projects, and I thought it would be really, really cool on the bottom like that. But it needs some sort of a background paper. And I went ahead and pulled this, excuse me, I pulled this out of my stash. I've had it forever. I don't think I've ever used it for anything. And it's a lot of hearts and Valentine stuff. A lot of purple. I'm surprised I haven't used it. But I thought this paper here would look really good with that. So that's why I pulled this out. And there we have that piece of paper. I love to be able to use up my stuff. So I'm just going to make a mat for the card, and this time I'm going to make it a little bigger than my last card's mat because I want it to go just about to the edge with a very, very little white border. So I want to go 4 1/8. And again, here is the rough side that was in the binding. So I'm going to go here with 4 1/8. I'm trying to figure out where it is on this cutter, because the 4 is right at the thing. There we go. So that's the right size. 4 1/8, and instead of 5 1/2, it's going to be 5 3/8. Because 4/8 is a half, and you want to go 1/8 smaller. And then I just eyeball it just to make sure I got my measurements right, and there, it's perfect. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down. I'm not used to using that white paper trimmer. I only use it for when I go to craft day, but I think it's going to be easier for filming rather than have that my big clunky tonic cutter, which I love my tonic cutter. All right. I decided I want the smaller pieces up here and then these bigger pieces down here. It's just me. And this one's going to be a little harder to line up since it's so close to the edge. But again, I watched this corner, and there. I got it to be perfect, or at least perfect enough for me. Then I'm going to see how this looks on it. It doesn't give me much room, so I think I'm going to take a sliver off of each edge. This is 4 inches, so I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off of this edge, and then turn it around and take 1/8 of an inch off the other edge. We'll see how that looks. Okay, I do think that is a little bit better. I don't want to make it too thin. So there we have that. I'm not going to raise this up since this is already pretty thick and dimensional. I don't think the card's going to need extra dimension. I love to recycle things. I hate to throw things away. So don't throw your junk mail away. Save them. There's lots you can do with them. Making sure my card opens the right way before I stick this on. And here I'm just trying to make sure it's pretty even on all 3 sides. And then I have this, and I'm going to use the other end. That one end is, and if you notice, this end here doesn't have one of the sequins, so I'm going to pretend that's not there, and I'm going to go this way. And that one has a broken sequin as well. All right, let's go with the other end. Let's see. Okay, there we go. That end has enough sequins. And I want something really good to adhere this down since it's chunky. So I'm going to use some of these ribbon lines. They're by the Sticky Dots people, and they are adhesive, strips of adhesive that's meant to glue down ribbon. And I'm going to put one, I hope you can see this, I'm going to put one on the end over here, kind of right in the middle from top to bottom, and then I push that down really good. Take my bone folder and burnish that down just to make sure it sticks really well. And then I'm going to take one more and put it on the other side, on the very end. Burnish it down a little bit. And then I'm going to put one in the middle. All right. There we go. And I want to see, they are too tall to go that way. Okay, I have another idea. So then I'm going to take it from the first really good sequin to the last one, and I want to make sure it's this way, and it'll be even on both sides. Try to make it nice and straight. There we go. And I'm going to cut it with a little extra. If I cut it straight to the edge of the card, it is going to fray apart like that. So what I'm going to do before I trim it down, I'm going to take some of my tacky glue. I love this stuff. This is great for thick things. And I'm going to run a bead of it right on the edge. And stick it down like that. And then I'm going to do the other side the same way. So I just ran a bead from the top to the bottom of that, and I'm going to push it down. And yes, it's going to come out and it's going to be messy. It dries clear, so you will not see that. And then I'm going to take a tissue and wipe off my mess. I store my tacky glue upside down because it is very thick, and once the bottle's about halfway gone, it takes a really long time to get it up to the top. The only problem is it sometimes, if you store it upside down, it gets messy like that. I store it in a tissue box that I took the top off. This is different tapes and stuff in here, and I just keep it upside down in there, and that way it's always on my desk. I'm going to let this dry. I am not going to trim it off until it's completely dry. I'll let it dry overnight and I'll trim it tomorrow. But I will open the card because I want to make sure I'm not gluing it shut, and I will put a piece of scrap paper along that side so it doesn't seep out and glue my card shut. So there you go. So then tomorrow when this is completely dry, I'll take my scissors and trim each end off, and then it will not fray. All right, well, there you go. There you have it. I have 2 cards made really easily with stuff that I happen to have on my desk. This is great for spring. And I don't mind that it has string and tape on the back. I don't think the recipient is going to be bothered by that at all. It does not look messy. It looks pretty nice. So there you go. I have 2 cards, and I made them in just a short period of time, in 20 minutes for 2 cards, so that's not too bad. I hope you liked this video. If you do like it, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. I have more videos coming, and I hope to see you next time. And meanwhile, get crafting. Bye-bye.